Thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and have a conversation.
Not a problem, mate.
How long have you been running for?
Well, as far as our run goes, 2013 was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd run when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like school cross country and stuff. But
Yeah.
our charity, our first year was in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
That was the year we ran for the hospital.
Yeah.
And we've run every year since then, except for 2021, I think it was, when COVID hit. We weren't allowed to do anything outside that year.
How far was it? How far was it?
It's 150 Ks. So
150 Ks.
Yeah, so we run from, everyone knows the shop at Seal Rocks at the main beach there. We run from there back to Dudley to Soccer Oval at Dudley. We originally ran back to Burwell Bowling Club, but that's no longer anymore. So we run into the Soccer Oval at Dudley.
How many people are doing it?
So we have 30 full-time runners each year. We can't do any more than that insurance-wise. We run along the freeway, so for a fair chunk of it. So we can't have any more than that, and I wouldn't want to have any more than that. It's too much to look after anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like we're on a bike where you're cruising at a fair speed. But, we're just going pretty slow. So we had 30 full-time runners, and for the last 5 years we've had probably 30 or so part-time runners.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are kids, some of them are older people, family members of kids we've run for or whatever, and they get to do bits and pieces throughout the run where there's sort of safe zones, I suppose you'd call them, and they average 65 to 70 Ks themselves over those 5 days anyway. So they're just as much part of it as what we are.
So how long does the run take?
So we do it over 5 days.
Yeah. Is it same day every year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So same date. Around about the same date. Originally back in the day we did it in November. We've moved it to March. This will be our 4th year, I think, in March. So first days, I don't know, kilometres are, I'm not one to wear a watch and all that sort of stuff, so that they all know all that sort of stuff. But first day is about 36, then 34, 33, 32 or something, and then 16, 17 Ks on the last day, which is our fun day, so we run into Dudley, and that's how we raise. We have a big family fun day on that day with kids' rides and bands all day and auctions and ice cream trucks and snow cones and burger trucks and all the rest of it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
You're running?
Yeah. So I haven't missed one yet. As of last year, that was me and another guy that started with me the first year. Also was one of the 4 people that helped me do the committee stuff at the start, Rick. We haven't missed one yet. We've done 10. There's a fair chunk of them that have done 9.
Yeah.
8 and 7, and there's others this year. I think we've got 5 new full-time runners this year, which is awesome. Get a bit of new blood in there. Some of them are 18, and including my eldest daughter. This will be her first full-time at it.
Oh, great.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
And a couple of other Charlie's friends, and which is cool. We've got a couple of her friends were older. They were 18 last year, and they ran last year as well, and they'll run again this year. So it's good to have her age group friends now being able to partake in the full time, because you've got to be 18 to do that legally, insurance wise, and all the rest. But yeah, so he's done 10, and there's others that have done bits and pieces, and it should be good.
Yeah,
going
nice.
around for the 11th time.
Yeah. Why running?
Well, it just basically started because the background story of it all is that Charlie, who we named the charity after, she was diagnosed with neuroblastoma when she was 16 months old. Her dad's one of my best mates, Brett, and I watched her go through. She basically, when she succumbed to it, she'd beaten it 3 times. She had it back a 4th time. She was 8.5 or so. So the reason the original run was set up was because she was actually doing a fundraiser herself, trying to raise $5,000. Mind you, she was undergoing treatment for the 3rd time that she had cancer.
Yeah, wow.
7-year-old.
Horrible.
So she was trying to raise funds for the arts and crafts department up at the hospital for J1 ward that the government had taken away. But because of her longevity in hospital, she knew how important that arts and crafts was to kids and try and give them some sort of something to do instead of just looking at the four walls type thing. We went to the club on a Friday night. It was a big raffle, and I just tried to help her raise some of that money, hit up a few blokes that I know, mates of mine that own businesses, and the wire running bit was because they said, okay, well, there's 4 of them that were going to chuck in 500 each. What are you going to do? You got to do something, out there. And I said, I don't know. I just, for some reason, I said I'd run from Seal Rocks back to Dudley.
Why Seals Rocks?
Seal Rocks because Charlie's pop, he was a fisherman.
Okay.
And I just knew off the top of my head that was an area he did go fishing at. And it's an area that a lot of people in our community, the Dudley, Whitebridge, Cohiba, Red Deer community, have always holidayed. I don't really know, but it sort of fit
And just stuck.
and it stuck. And then I spent the next morning, Mel, Charlie's mum, actually said that I rang her just to talk to her about these guys were going to donate, and she basically said that that she'd already raised that 5,000. So I was like, sweet, I don't have to run now. Spoke to the boys, and they're like, well, we've got another 4 other guys that are on, so we've got $4,000, so you got to keep going with it. So I spent the next couple of weeks driving in my car trying to work out kilometres and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Technology wasn't as good then, and I'm not really a technology type person. Google Maps and things like that. So because part of our run through the bush, so it was hard to measure, but we just worked it out that it was 150 k's, and it was 8 weeks after that Friday night that we ran in on it. 8 weeks later on that weekend, there was 5 of us, 5 of us done the whole lot that year, 6 that partaked in it. Like I said before, Rick was one of the guys who just said, you can't go on your own, so I'll come with you. And we ran into Bellwood Bowling Club that year, and we raised $38,000, which we donated to the ward, J1 up at the hospital, and that's how it all started.
Yeah.
It was going to be a one-off type thing. That was the plan. And then, unfortunately, like I said before, Charlie had beaten neuroblastoma for the 3rd time. And in the next few months, she was re-diagnosed again. So the 4th time, and 8-year-old, and it's just, uncomprehendable. But so the diagnosis wasn't fantastic. And as you can imagine, an 8-year-old kid that's had cancer 4 times and spent most of her life in there, treatment to her body over that time is not a good thing just to start with, let alone the cancer itself. And the prognosis wasn't good, so we decided the first year we called it Run for Kids, just a name we come up with. And then so the next year we decided it would run for her and her family. We could see that the importance of raising funds for them so that they could spend all their time committed to being with their daughter when she really needed to, and obviously they needed to be with her as well.
Yeah.
I didn't want Brett to be having to try and work 7 days a week just so that he could pay the bills at home and all the medical bills and all the rest of it coming in when he should be spending most of that, he should be spending 24/7 with his daughter and her brother. She's got an older brother, Tommy. So they needed to be all together, and that's where it started as Charlie's Run for Kids. There's a lot of cool charities out there, even in our area, that are doing stuff for fundraising for research and things like that, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
We definitely need that because I'd hope before my time's up that we don't have to do this Run for Kids because we've got treatments in place or we've gotten rid of this cancer sort of stuff. They're doing fantastic. So, and then we decided. We didn't decide. Unfortunately, there was literally a little girl that lived a kilometre down the road. One was Charlie's in Dudley, and another little girl that lived in Redhead that was diagnosed within the next few months. So we went again, and then it's just gone from there. Unfortunately, like I said, and the year after that, there was another boy, Jacob, from Redhead as well. So the first 3 years we ran for 3 kids that were, they probably lived within 2 kilometres of each other, Yeah, we just could see the importance of mum and dad. And yeah, I can't imagine. I've got 3 daughters myself. What they go through, but they need to be with their children. So yeah, that's where we're at. We started 4 years ago. I think we split it, so we do it for 2 families each year now.
Okay.
This year we'll be running for 2 little girls, Evelyn and Luna.
Yeah.
So they still get a massive chunk of money, and over those years we're still fundraised for the hospital each year as well. So our corporate, our high end sponsors, the money goes towards
research and stuff.
It goes to the ward.
Okay.
So for a few years there, we help pay a wage for a play therapist up at the hospital. That just helps the kids when they're going through treatments and things like that. The last couple of years, it's been for a trial play therapist that just focuses on the MRI room, in the scan room. Like some of these kids that are, you try and get a 12-month-old kid to sit in a CT scan or scan for, they've got to be still for 2 hours, and they move too much and it's got to start again type thing. Hard enough for me and you to get into one of those machines. Like I haven't done it thankfully, but from experience of other adults that I know, it's horrendous. So yeah, she helps them with that sort of thing, by playing music and just talking to them and gets them through that sort of stuff. But yeah, so we still fund a role and other bits and pieces up at the J1 at the ward too. So
the charity we're running, raising money, and do you focus on a specific diagnosis or?
No, so no, not a specific one. So the 2 little girls, like Charlie, I said before, Charlie had neuroblastoma. A couple of kids have had that. The 2 little girls we're running for this year both got leukemia. So there's so many variants of it as well. It's unfortunately it's hard to keep up with all the different types of it. But yeah, just childhood cancer. So any children, we've run for some people from out of town, which is I don't know whether you'd say it's a good thing, but not having a local to run for that year. You'd think it feels good, but then in the end, the people that we've run for become part of what we call our CR4K family. And that's probably our biggest thing. It's not so much the money that we raise, it's more the ongoing support. Every single family that we've run for are part of the charity now, with some of them being runners, brothers, sisters, dads, mums, even on the committee. So yeah, there's no certain diagnosis, but yeah, any childhood cancers we're just whatever we need to do. Look, we go through a process with the hospital, and
I was going to ask that, like how do you hear about the kids?
Well, unfortunately, just because of what we do, and believe it or not, so I stood back 2 years ago from the day-to-day running of the charity. I still help out with a lot of stuff, spokesperson type of stuff, and do what I can. But Mel, Charlie's mum, who's on the charity and is one of the main drivers of it at the moment, she actually works at the hospital, believe it or not. She's a nutritionist up there. She had worked there prior to Charlie being sick, and went back there, which I don't know how she ever did that, but that's her role and what she does. So she's unfortunately in contact, and a lot of us are just in contact with people up there. People in the community just come to us as well. If they hear about a young nephew or niece or friend that has been diagnosed, they'll come to us, and because our run's only once a year, and that's where our main funding comes from. We stick to doing the 2 families. I mean, we send little bits of money here and there to help other families throughout the year when we can, not like the huge amount. But unfortunately, yeah, it's sort of in our face. Whether it's through contact with the hospital, which we do have contact with them as well, the head oncologist up there and social workers and things like that. So just by us being in it, it's the worst part is it's quite prevalent out there. There's another local charity where you got Emma's Warriors who do stuff for gift packs and things for the kids up the hospital there, like in our local area too. We also have another one called Run DIPG, which I'd never heard of till a few years ago.
What's it called? Sorry,
it's DIPG. It's called Run DIPG is their charity, but DIPG is it's a cancer, it's a brain cancer, and so they specifically just do for that. The head what do you call him? Head scientist or the head specialist in that field. He actually lost his daughter to it, Josie, 4 years ago. He also lives in Dudley. So they started that charity, and they're on the research side of things.
Okay.
So he's got a research lab over at the university.
Yeah.
And they're trying to.
Are they with the Mark Hughes Foundation?
No, separate. So they're literally like their charity is called Run DIPG.
Okay.
And they specifically, it's about this DIPG prognosis.
Yeah.
Because there's absolutely no cure for that at this stage. They got to the stage where they're slowing it down a little bit, but most prognosis for those kids is maximum 12 months. Whereas it's still not good odds, but out of the 14 kids that we ran for, there's 4 that are no longer with us, which is just horrendous. I don't really have a word to describe that. But the DIPG thing is, it's uncurable. So he lost his daughter to that. Matt Dunn, he's an incredible man doing research for that, and believe it or not, good friends of ours who are also part of our charity, their daughter Amber was diagnosed with it a couple of years ago. She passed away from that. She was 16, and they're also from Dudley. They're also now. So his mum was her mum was a part-time runner for us last year. Her dad drives our safety vehicle, and her brother actually was a full-time runner with us last year. So, that's part of what we try to do with our charity is we class it as a community-based charity, but we want those families to have somewhere. It's very not without me knowing. It's very hard for those type of families to talk about their experiences to people that don't understand, and fortunately for them, but unfortunately in a way as well. The people that we have dealt with all understand all that, so they have somewhere that they feel comfortable that they can talk about that, and just the love and care that we have for them makes it a safe place. So there's also in our area there's a good ex-Karma. They're doing fantastic stuff too. They raise money for Chris O'Brien Lifehouse, which is another research centre in Sydney. So literally in our local area we have like 4 charities. That's why, like, if people ask me about our charity and how it works, I mean, it started because of Charlie, and it's because of her legacy. Our whole community knew over that 8 years what she went through, and the way that she did it and the way she presented herself. There was times when she was in her 4th go of childhood cancer, and she'd go to have chemo in the morning and then go home, get changed, and go to school still.
Really?
And that's just her. That was her persona.
Just a life.
Huh?
Just her life.
Yep, it's just her life. It was, and
no.
She wanted to see her friends. She was. That was for her. That was. She loved her animals as well, but her main thing was her friends. That was, and you can imagine. She probably feels that that's a good thing that she's able to go and have chemo in the morning and get out of school. Because there's a lot of times in her life where she didn't get to go out of the hospital room. So, our charity started because of her, and our community just followed on with that because of her and her legacy, and that's what we'll continue to do. And all the children that we've run for. But I always say that our community is the best community in the world, and you can see that the support they give our charity to where it is now, from just a simple idea. But they also support those other three charities as well. Vividly, like it's constant. Those other charities do a fair bit of work outside of our area as well, but they're all well supported in our area. So we're just lucky we live in a community that's absolutely the best in the world. I mean, our charity, that first year we raised 38,000 for the hospital, and as of our 10th run last year, we're about 1.44 million.
Wow.
That we've raised in the 10 years.
Wow.
To either go towards helping a family or to things at the hospital or other bits and pieces for families
That's
around
great.
the area. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's, I really wish we didn't have to do it, but that we can raise that sort of money. It does show the community, and it's not just our community. It is our community, but inside of our community, like you have high schools, primary schools, they're doing fundraisers, sports clubs that have special days, just literally just sporting events just so they can raise money for our charity. Even down to little stuff, like some of my favourite stuff is the little stuff. For example, this week there's eight or nine girls. They did it last year as well. They're all in primary school, and they make like the Tay bracelets, those things, but they make them for our charity, and they have that's where they were famous for the Tay. I've got 3 girls, so I do know.
You're all over it, mate.
Yeah. But they do that sort of bracelet too, but they have all the different kids that we've
That's great.
run for over the years.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many last year, but they sold thousands of dollars worth of them, and they're like last weekend, and they'll do it again this weekend. Like they don't just make a couple; they're making
Keeping them busy.
hundreds and hundreds of them, just so that they can bring them to the day, and they sell them off, and just so that they can help. And when you see these young kids that, whether they've been touched by it personally, the cancer travel of the children, but they just understand, and their parents understand. Their parents have seen it because of our community, and unfortunately the amount of kids that have had it in our community. So their parents understand, and their kids understand, and seeing kids like doing things like that, like kids doing lemonade stalls, like selling cups of lemonade for $1, making homemade lemonade and putting a poster at the front on their driveway saying raising money for CR4K, Charlie's Run for Kids. It's brilliant. Like, it's fantastic. We can't do it without our high-end corporate sponsorships. That's what we wouldn't get off the ground each year without that. But just seeing the little kids, doing that sort of fundraising is that's my favourite type anyway.
With the next one, so are you raising money for 2 families?
Yeah. So this year we're running for 2 little girls.
Yep.
Evelyn,
So you already know who they are? Yep.
Yep. Evelyn and Luna. So we announced that last September.
When's the run?
Sorry?
When's the run?
We start on 12th of March.
Okay.
Wednesday the 12th of March.
Yeah.
So just 6.5 weeks away.
Nice. You training?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm into it at the moment. Look, I've done it both ways. Train flat out and not done enough, whether it be through injury or laziness. Training's definitely the way to go. But we're doing so we'll be running in March for Evelyn and Luna, like I said before, 12th of March, and training wise, so I was a little bit behind at the moment because unfortunately I lost my dad to leukemia a few days before Christmas, 18th of December. So, but yeah, I've got back on track now.
Yeah.
Like I said before, the group of people, the runners, it becomes such much of a family that it's not just about the raising the funds. They're supportive of me and making sure that they're getting me to training so we can all do this together.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ran like this week. I'll do 4 runs this week. Starting next week, I'll start with a run strong class with a professional runner who does exercises for certain parts of the body, running based exercises, which I'd done for the first time last year, help tremendously. It's just your hip flexors and knees and things like that. You know that just running doesn't. You know, you need to do more than just the running. So
I do a lot of running, and I've broke my ankle before, and hips ache, knees ache, especially when you start getting like the volume in over the weeks.
Volume, and you know, you only got to be. There's not very many places that you can run that's perfectly flat. You know, you start getting on canvas and things like that, which starts straining your knees. And for me, it's my hip flexors. You know, just because I'm a male too. None of us stretch. You know, we'll go do a quick warm up, whatever sport we play, and we go over to the fence and lift the leg up and do a quad stretch and go, oh yeah, we're good to go. You know, or
my warm up is
the
first couple of 100 meters is slower.
Yeah, slower, and then. Put the leg out and go. Oh, yeah, right to go. And anyway, so that's just how it is. You know, the girls have different injuries, so we just got to do what we can. Yeah.
How's the fundraising going for these two girls?
So sponsorship wise, which it all gets us off the ground, but and helps us start. Obviously, we keep a little bit of a kitty from the year before just to actually get the ball rolling for stuff. So it's sort of like I say, it's once a year. Sponsorship wise, we've still got the same amount of sponsors as what we had last year. Some new, some old. So that's all on track. Our main fundraising though is actually at the event. So on the fifth day, like I said, we have that family fun day. Where we sell our merch. You know, we do coffee cups, we do hats, we do T-shirts, we do all sorts of stuff now. Drink containers, all sorts of stuff, some cool stuff. Selling all that sort of stuff. We also have raffles, some pretty big prize raffles. I think this year's like a $5,000 cash prize for first, and then a $2,500 travel voucher for second, and a Dino surfboard for the third. And then we have auctions as well. So we have, I think last year we had about 16 items that we auctioned off.
And they've just been donated. So like every dollar spent on them is just going straight.
Yeah, everything's donated. For example, so we get a surfboard. Sam Egan helps. Not Sam Egan, sorry. Pete McCabe helps us with a surfboard each year. We have had some off Stam as well, but Pete's been on a surfboard. One of the local families, or best friends with the Carr family. Charlie's mum, Charlotte, Abrahamsons, Shauna and Shane and Emily. Three of them are actually on the committee as well. They actually donate that board every year. Nice. It's one of our major prizes. I mean, it's gone from anywhere from 8,000 to 13,000 on a day. We had Mitch Revs done us a cool, you know, he does his beach theme artworks, and he done one for us through collaboration with me and a couple of other blokes of Dudley Beach a couple of years ago. We didn't have a Dudley Beach one done, and through me talking to the board riders boys and fishing boys, and we made sure we got all that sort of stuff in there, and the actual original of that went for 30,000.
Wow.
On the day, yeah.
Wow.
Which is fantastic. And he sold off, I think he sold off about, probably 80 something, 85 prints on the day as well, which he donated a large amount of that money as well too. So, we get avenues coming from different places to get our auction items, but we're on track. We'll do similar to what we do last year. Our vendors throw money at us too, from the snow cones or the burger trucks and things like that. Just donations. So we're live at the moment with a donation. You can just go on our Facebook page and donate, or through the website. That won't start ramping up till probably 4 weeks prior to it, when when it starts to become bigger in the community. Like, everyone knows it's coming, but that's when we start to really hit the vibe for it for the last 4 weeks leading up. I mean, even now on our socials, Facebook, Insta, and all that sort of stuff, there's posts every day, like just of our runners and sponsor stuff and all that sort of stuff. So it's already starting to get that vibe in the community. Like I said before, they're the best. Even Tuesday, like this week, running along the Fernley, there's probably, I don't know, 8 or 10 of us running along the Fernley, and You have people that stand on the side of the track while they're going for a walk, cheering us on and stuff like that. People in the local community driving past, honking horns and all that sort of stuff. Everyone knows that it's starting to build up, and they know what we do. That's, the monetary support is fantastic, like I said before, but they just really get behind it, and they feel part of it because they are. Without them, we can't do it. And like I said, that's why I class it as a community-based charity. But this year, well, we'll just see. We've had tough years. People were going through COVID, and people still turned up, and we still raised the amount of money that we average each year. So it doesn't seem seem to stop our community. Whether the government says poor times with whatever, like our community turns up every year, and I'm sure it'll be exactly the same this year.
Newcastle's good for that, eh? Like I'm sure there's plenty of other places in Australia the same, but Newcastle, I just feel like we're just such a supportive group of people. Like me with my films, everyone comes to the premieres, and like you see, like even just like Knights, they're hardcore Knights fans. All these charities.
I don't think, everything in Newcastle, and it's funny. Like my daughter was literally saying the other day, driving along in the car, because we go on holiday to Lennox Head, and we were just talking about Lennox Head and stuff, and she was like, because she's on school holidays at the moment, she was like, isn't it funny that we're driving through Whitebridge shops, and she says like that Whitebridge shops is somebody's shops that they use on holidays. Like they're here on holidays, they come to Newcastle. Why would they want to do that? And I said, well, because we live here, we take it for granted. Like our beaches are you're not going to get better beaches anywhere in the country. And whether it's sporting, whether it's things like the more people you talk to from out of Newcastle, the more people that you hear say about how good Newcastle is getting behind and supporting, no matter what it is, whether it's charities or if someone's down and out for different types of things, or like you say, supporting something like your premiere of your movies, the Knights, for example. I mean, I'm an Eels fan, so I don't understand that. But as a Novocastrian, like
they get behind it.
They're behind it no matter what. They've had a lot of success, but they've also had a lot of lean years. You've only got to watch a Knights game on the TV and hear the commentators, and they just die hard. It's a Newcastle thing. It's we'll do whatever we can to support each other. I think that's a pretty cool thing. Like, especially cool that we recognise that, I believe.
Yeah, and then on top of it, just a beautiful place. Like I've done a lot of travelling. I've been to a lot of countries.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've got it all. We've got the beautiful beaches, we've got the vineyards, we've got like national parks like Glenrock, and we've still got like a little bit of bars, bars, cafes. We've got it all.
Yeah, like you look at there'll be tourism photos, for example, of Bondi or the beach, or literally it's just like Newcastle Beach, or different parts of the world. We know where they'll have. The bars, for example, showing that there's surf and there's bars and all that. We've got it all here. Like sporting facilities. We're not far too. I think that's what brings us so close together. You could live at Swansea or you could live at Nelson Bay, and you're literally an hour away from each other. Whereas over those sort of kilometres in Sydney, you're 3 hours away from that, and it's so it makes us so close. From Swansea, you're a 15-minute drive into town. Nelson Bay, you're half an hour down. Like we've got the vineyards. It's just like I think we live in the most incredible place.
It's funny we say like an hour is close. I was in Europe. I was living there for 8 months last year, but we woke up in Serbia, drove through Bosnia into Croatia in 3.5 hours. We drive through 3 countries.
It's a classic, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're like, an hour's close, and we're like just down the coast a little bit. Like we drive for days.
Yeah.
Just to get to the state.
Like going to Lennox Head, like it's a 7-hour drive. Our favourite holiday place, my family's.
Yeah, like just a quick trip up the coast.
Just up the coast, whereas you talk to people from overseas, and like you say, they could go through 3, 4, 5 countries in that amount of time. They just jump on a train and do that.
Yeah.
In 3 or 4 hours, they go through a few different countries. So yeah, I mean, Newcastle, we're close, but we obviously we live on a pretty big island, and it's quite spread out. But I don't know. It's a lucky country, they say.
Yeah,
I definitely think that is the case. and Newcastle's like, I don't think you'll find anyone that would say that Newcastle isn't one of the best parts of that for all different things. You know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
With you being so close to like the charity and hearing all these stories, like how's your perspective changed? Like hearing these children go through what they go through and hearing the families and talking with them, and you'd be around it so much more than other people.
Yeah, it's a good question. Since it started, obviously my outlook on it all is quite different. I've seen the worst of it, and you know, yeah. Unfortunately for these families, like a win is going into remission.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and you know, we've had a couple of kids that have relapsed. I hope that doesn't happen. But the perspective on life. So, like I said before about my dad, he'd suffered leukemia for 16 years, which was hard for us as a family. But he's a grown man, and watching him go through treatment was hard enough. Although he never complained of it, but watching young children go through what they're going through and the treatments, and just how sick they are, and the impact that it has on their families. Look, I become every family that we've run for, I'd class as my family. I've become very close to them. It's my perspective. It's my life has changed a lot because of it. I look at things differently. I'm very thankful that I have 3 healthy teenage daughters. But yeah, the crux of it is that we're losing kids to childhood cancer, and that depresses me. Like, it's all well and good to be on a high from raising funds and be that person that everyone in the community looks at as great job, mate. But behind the scenes, we're watching people get diagnosed and kids of people that we know and we don't know that end up being family. It's horrifying, and what they go through, and just for the families themselves, like their lives change forever. We've had 3 girls that, like local girls, that I'm mates with all of their dads. That we didn't get a chance to run for because it just didn't fit into our program, and so other fundraisers were organised for those girls. 2 of those girls, Caprice and Amber, are no longer with us, and there's no way of explaining that. Emma, we didn't get to run for her too. Emma's the young girl that's got Emma's Warriors charity. She's going good guns at the moment, thankfully. But yeah, I mean, it's hard enough for me. I can't imagine what it would be like to be a brother of a sibling that goes through that, and not only the impact that it has on the sibling, whether it's a 6-month prognosis, a 6-month diagnosis, or in and out of hospital for 2 years. That little brother or sisters, they're living that life too. There's no one, because they can't be at home. They're missing a lot of their life. They're growing up differently as well. They're not seeing their friends. They've got to be with mum and dad, and the impact that it has on them and the parents. I don't have any way of explaining it. It's they literally, like, we're in a room here. It's like just me saying to you today, there's something wrong with you. You're going to have to stay in this room. You have to sleep in that bed over there for, we're not sure how long yet. You could be here for 8 months. You could be here for 2 years. And, you can look out the window and that's about it. That's your outside, sort of what you can see from the outside. And the hard part of that is obviously mum and dad and brother and sister have got to do that too. Then you have the worst part of that is when things don't go right and actually lose children. I don't know how they continue on. They're incredible. Those, like I said before, there's the amount of families that are part of our charity, and mums and dads and brothers and sisters that have lost siblings or their children, and still get up and they either run or they're part of our committee or our support crew and things like that to help us, to help other families. They're the real heroes here. There's no other word for it. They're absolute heroes. How they, I wouldn't be able to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know how they find the strength to keep moving.
Yeah. It's
saying goodbye to a child.
Yeah. Look, I had obviously with my dad just recently. I'm 46. I'm a grown man. He was 73. It hurts me bad now. I don't know how an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old kid would be losing their brother or sister, or if, for example, if I was a parent of losing a child. I mean, that's a next level thing again. It's like I said, the only word to explain them is heroes, really. I mean, obviously their lives change and it's not easy for them to do what they do, but credit to them. Beautiful people, so strong. There's no other word, really.
How's your outlook on life now after being around all this? Like, I've just done a documentary on suicide prevention, so I just look at that topic so differently now. I've sat with families and talked about it. We went on the road filming. I was around it so much more than I ever was in my life.
Yep.
It's just got such a different perspective, and just seeing you be around these families and hearing these conversations and being just like at the forefront with them. Like, do you look at life differently?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And my dad used to say it too, and we all try to do it. I suppose especially the people that are close to this, you got to cherish smaller things in life. Life gets mundane as a parent. You're working, taking kids to sport, taking kids to school, doing the groceries, doing this. You get into a rhythm. But because of what I see, and I'm not always great at it, but I try and find so much more joy in the little things. Like, for example, just from picking my kids up from school, or taking them to sport. There's like I said, there's mates of mine that don't get to do that anymore. My best mate Brett, my eldest daughter turned 18 in December. Charlie would have been 18 2 months prior to that. He doesn't get a chance to do that. So, you got to feel privileged that I'm in a situation where I get to do that sort of stuff. So my outlook is trying to make simple things in life, or just trying to look at them, I suppose, and not take them for granted is what we're trying to do.
Do you make that choice? Like, are you aware? So, like, when you drop the kids off at school, do you stop and say, enjoy this, remember this, be present right
100%,
now?
100%. Especially because a lot of the kids where I take her to school, where my girls are at the high school, a lot of the kids that are walking in and out of that school have either got our hat on or our socks or things like that. So the charity's always on my forefront of my mind. So that gives me that perspective. But yeah, I do find myself sitting there sometimes where you can see other parents where they're frustrated because they're waiting for their kids to come out of school, and they might be running late. You know how life is; it's busy. You got to get to drop little Jimmy off to soccer or what's he doing, netball or whatever. Yep. Rush. But I do find myself like where I try and just take that in, and not take it for granted. Like I said before, it's because you need to just wall back a little bit on life and enjoy what we have and celebrate the little things as well. Because there's you just see so much pain that these families go through. They would love the opportunity to celebrate those little things, like picking their kid up from school, or like picking their kid up because they're sick, or like, I don't know, kids drawing on the wall or whatever, things that we probably day to day we go, we're not happy about that, but I don't know, we should be grateful for those things too.
I think I do time to time, quite often. I just play this like thought in my head where I imagine I've passed.
Yep.
6 months gone and I'm just looking down on everyone I love.
Yep.
And then God just taps me on the shoulder and goes, I'm going to give you one more day to go down and be with them.
Yep.
Okay, tomorrow you get to go down and be with them
Yep.
for one more day and then you come back, obviously.
Yep.
And then I live that day thinking, what conversations would I have? What would I tell the people I love?
Yep.
How would I act that day? And your perspective that day is so much different.
Oh, 100%.
You don't get angry at the little things if someone's doing this or that. You just look at them and just go, fuck, I love you.
Yeah, and you cherish and you're smiling and just the pride in like you say, just watching someone walk or being able to give someone that cuddle or kiss or tell them how much you love them, which I'm pretty good at. That's probably part of the process of what I see and what I go through. But you're right; it's a good perspective to look at, isn't it? I mean, if more of us did that, probably would be a good thing. And especially, you know, like you're talking about the mental health thing with Craig, which I've watched and on that, great job, fantastic.
Thank you.
We lost one of our runners last year late last year in November to suicide.
Sorry to hear that.
34-year-old life of the party sort of fella. He'd run with us a fair bit, and it hurts. And it'll always hurt. But I think you sort of try your best to, because of what you just said, how you have that opportunity again to come back for a day. And I think about that with Reese too. And try and spend my days just knowing that how much he would get out of having another day, and so that I don't get cranky at little things, or don't, you know, and just make sure you appreciate it and not just appreciate it, but show the love for what you appreciate. It's a good thing. Good thing to tell your mate you love them. Because if, like you say, if you weren't here, that's the first thing you want to do. Yeah. So mental health thing's another thing altogether. But we were totally shocked. We wouldn't have picked it. He's the guy that would turn up with his beard dyed pink and run with his hair dyed pink, and do anything for us. And friend with anyone from 6 months old through to 75, 80-year-old people that are a part of our crew. You know, he had time for everybody, and I don't. It's a horrible thing. Shock to us. It's hurt our Charlie's Run for Kids family big time. But that's one way I do look at it. I think he would love an opportunity to have another day to see his mum and his dad and his siblings, and I think we've got to try and accept that and live our life. Try and live it every day like that. You know. Yeah. Like you say, I think it's important.
And it's a choice. Like, I think like these things are great. These conversations are great because it gives people the perspective to think how lucky they are and to be grateful for it. But being grateful and to choosing to like live life that way is a choice.
100%.
And it all comes down to the individual. Like, you can choose to get angry at the car in front of you while you're stuck in traffic.
100%.
There's people that wish they were fucking sitting in the car.
Yeah.
So
that's right. And like you say, there's people that wish they just could be. They wish that could be their sibling or their daughter or something that's driving that car, because they don't have them anymore. Yeah. So you got to look at things in different perspectives. Like I literally heard a lady the other week on the radio saying that about the car scenario. You know, getting angry about the car in front of you that's going too slow, and you're in a rush to get to work because you were running late or such and such. And she said just think about it. It's like it's your grandmother, and she's just spent the last 2 days baking a 3-tier cake for your wedding, and she's got it on the front seat, and she's driving slow because she's trying to bring it to your wedding. And that's just one perspective.
Yeah.
But to you know, who knows what that person in front of you is going through, or you know, it doesn't really matter, does it? You know,
It doesn't.
like it's those like little things like that. Just don't. They don't. I try not to let them even bother me. It's you know, it's not important. That's and that, my wife will hear me say that all the time, Kylie. I just say, oh yeah, okay, well, that's not really important in the big scheme of things. And it's, it is what it is. Is my little.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it comes out every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to. Those little things, they're not something we need to concern us, I should say. Yeah. So on Kylie, I'll talk quickly about her too. So, and I didn't bring up earlier on. So Kylie, my wife, and Rick, and another friend of ours, Lane. It was those three basically helped. They done all the committee stuff at the start of it. I get all the limelight because I was the dude that stands up and speaks or whatever. But without those three, for the first 5 years, like they basically ran the whole thing for the first 5 years, 6 years. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. Young Lane, especially, like, so she came on as a junior committee person at 13-year-old.
Yeah, right.
She helped us on our first day, which was 13. She came on the next year, which was 14. She just spent 10 years on the committee too. She stood back. She's with her work. She just needs a bit of a break. Mind you, she'll still be there helping on the day and all the rest of it, and on the run. But she went from a 14-year-old girl as a junior committee member, become a full-pledged committee member when you turn 18. By the time she was 20, and for 4 years, she was our event manager. So from a young girl that just wanted to help, the first year she was just trying to help weigh things down so they won't get blown away and things like that. To watch her grow with the charity to the stage where, I mean, running our event, we probably have 1,300 to 1,500 people there.
Yeah, wow.
There's a fair bit going on.
Yeah, it sounds like just behind the scenes, like just there'd be so much more work than we're just going to just go for a run.
Well, you know, like our committee now, which we're very thankful for, there's 14 or so, 12. I think we're at the moment with 10 or 11 on there at the moment. But without them, like, I can't take any credit for the last 2 years, like I've said. But without them, like they literally, we do our run in March. They probably have 2 months off. When I say off, they spend a month probably first actually packing up, whether it's behind the scenes or virtually, from that run, and then probably have a month or two off, and then by June, it takes from June just to get ready till this March of preparations in the background with organising sponsorships. The amount of stuff they do, we'll be here forever.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible the amount of effort that goes in. And, I mean, you turn up on that day, and thankfully for me, I'm very lucky that I know the amount of work that goes into it and how much work they actually do. Just things like insurances and council applications, and it's nothing takes 2 minutes, you know. Even the preparation just for our actual run, we have the different vehicles and safety vehicles, physios, masseuses, all that sort of stuff. Just organising all that sort of stuff, it's incredible. So it's not just a quick thing. It's they probably spend 9 to 10 months of the year for that one day. You know, people that don't know us or don't know that background of behind the scenes stuff, like they turn up on that day on 16th of March. It's going to be this year. And they come and they see the fire trucks come down when we come down the hill. Fire trucks lead us into Dudley, and which is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, they see the fire trucks come down the hill. They see a bunch of 50 or so runners come down the hill in pink singlets, run into the oval, cheer us all in, and then spend the next 6 hours having a great time as, you know, proper full on stage and bands, and like I said before, kids rides, all the bits and pieces. They just see that day and go, oh yeah, good day.
But then sort of work getting up to it.
Yeah, the amount of work,
yeah.
like it's
It's goes for a lot of things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all. I mean, charity stuff, especially. Well, it's anything, any event stuff. But see, they're not just dealing with organising an event; they're also dealing with running a charity as well. So there's a lot that goes into that itself. And we're talking about, for me personally, like with the emotion of it as well. You know, they've got that same issue too. They're all going through watching kids be sick and not knowing what the prognosis is going to be. And you know, we share certain stuff with the community, but we as a committee, you know, they're getting updated all the time and they're keeping in contact with mums or dads or brothers or sisters or whatever, so that to show their support. So they're hearing it, all the time, especially those that you know, there's Sarah, who's on our committee too. We ran for like I was saying earlier on, we ran for Charlie the first year, and we ran Jade, and then Jacob, the other 3 local kids. The year after that, we didn't have anyone local. We ran for a little boy called Logan Taylor. He's from a spot called Delungra, which is half hour west of Inverell. We had our launch day on the Sunday and supposed to start running on the Wednesday. He got crook. Again, he'd been going really well. And he got crook on the Sunday morning, so they wouldn't let him out of the hospital to come to our launch. His dad called into the launch for a little bit. His dad called me at midnight that night and said that they just told him that he wasn't going to make it. So I went and hung out with him for a little bit because he didn't have any male friends in Newcastle. It's 7 hours for them to get here, family and friends. But so we lost Logan before we even got to run. 2 days before we ran. But incredibly, so he still runs. The first year,
He's running this year?
He's running again this year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. He's a farmer. You know, first year he came down, he had to ask me where to buy a pair of joggers from. You know,
Just running in steel cut boots.
But so he's got a little sister too. She's a part-time runner, has been since Logan's passing, and since we ran for Logan. But his mum Sarah, she's also on our committee. She's also a part-time runner, but she's on our committee. So like when I was talking about the emotions of what those committee go through, especially for Mel and for Sarah, who have lost children to childhood cancer. They're incredible people that they're able to do that, and they must relive it constantly. Yeah, it'd be hard. I don't know. Very special type of people. I mean, all of our committee they do a fantastic job, but just even just the families that come back to run, whether their child's gotten better or their child hasn't gotten better, even if their child has gotten better, like just being part of and watching, reliving, they'd be reliving it all the time about, you know, the most horrible time in their life, just to help somebody else. I mean, I don't think you can get any more special a person than wants to do that. So,
sure.
I don't know how they do it, but yeah. As far as committee and emotions wise, like I say, it hurts me, and I'm an emotional type person anyway, which is cool. Yeah. Sometimes it sucks, but you know, but as far as like real heroes with emotion and that all the families that we have, whether they're on the committee or runners, proper heroes. Yeah, proper heroes.
So 6 weeks out.
Yeah, 6 weeks out.
6 weeks out. So people are listening, how can they support, help?
So you can jump onto our Facebook page or Insta page. Pretty sure we have an Insta page. I know we have an Insta page. I'm not an Insta boy, but Facebook page. Charlie's Run for Kids. Same with Instagram. Website, same thing. Charlie's Run for Kids. All the donation stuff's on there. At the moment with our socials, Facebook and Insta, our socials, they're daily updates, whether it be about sponsors or about the runners, what we're doing training-wise, or about the little girls that we're running for them, and just the whole preparation over the next 6 weeks. Yeah. Sunday the 16th of March is the day we run in. It's $10 entry for adults and free for kids.
Yeah. Be there.
it's a fantastic day. It's even if you don't come to, even if you don't know anybody that's gone through this or thankfully gone through this, if they haven't, or know the family that we're running for this year, it's besides the actual money raising for that family, it's a fantastic day out anyway. It's a great community day. The upside of it is that we get to help a couple of families that really need our help at the moment, going through the worst time of their life. So, yeah, be there.
Good work, mate.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
No, I was going to say thank you for being here. Really
I appreciate it, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cheers.
I really do.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.